Wait, oh, look at that. And we're live.
Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
before we launch into today's extravaganza, in which nothing bad will happen to our divided party at all, everything will come out at the end, and
You
you
guys
should
divided
not
again.
worry.
We're always divided in this group.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah, I suppose some a little bit of a recap. Then we'll launch into some few questions about everyone's characters so we can get to know them a little better so I can have things to use against you. Wait, that part was out loud. Usually I dispense that part inside my head.
We actually kind of just assume you're thinking it and go from there.
Well, we haven't been game together for like 5 years, so you guys should pretty much know that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to recap, we had Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood have been sent out to attempt to retrieve the body that the creature had left behind, and found it to be disturbingly missing. There was an officer there, kind of, because of course there's tremendous amount of blood. There'd been reports of disturbance, so there were, police officers were filtering into the area, but the body was nowhere to be found. Also, nowhere to be found the witness who had pointed Hezekiah and Fitz towards the creature's path the first time round. Hezekiah, the good lieutenant, decided to try and investigate this further by going into the bar and questioning the barkeep. His name was Sam, and he's a bit of a dick when you look at it. Not terribly concerned with what's going on outside his bar, not terribly concerned at all with the ladies that work there. I did kind of mention that there was one named Jess who disappeared a couple hours back. Maybe that's who you're looking for, but beyond that, he was not terribly helpful to Hezekiah. A bit friendlier to Fogwood, since at least Fogwood bought a drink, but still not exactly a fountain of information. Hezekiah decided to go a different route and chatted up one of the ladies that worked in this establishment. Got rather friendly. Mentioned that, yeah, they'd all heard what was going on outside and kind of seen bits and pieces of it through the window, and it kind of startled her, but Sam didn't want them talking about it. Going to scare away the customers who start talking about grisly murders and whatnot. And Sam's a businessman, not exactly in the not exactly going to get man of the year or anything like that. Pointed Hezekiah towards a flop house nearby where Jess works when she's not working at the bar, which Sam allows, provided Sam still gets his cut, if you know what I mean.
Evil.
So Hezekiah and Fogwood went up there, propositioned several times by the ladies hanging out there because the kind of place that it is.
And we clearly have money.
Yes, the guys stand out a bit. Bit of an action scene, broke into Jess's flat there in the flop house, found her packing and terrified because she had been told that she needed to get out of the city, essentially, and if she told anyone what she'd seen, she would be killed. Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood managed to talk her down, convince her that they are the good guys and they could protect her. But she did provide some rather interesting pieces of information in that it was our missing officers. Their names, I'll go back and look at my notes so that I get them right. Somewhere in here. Getting back to pages. Nope, you flip back too far, it's an entirely different one. Officers Wilfred Jackson and Lloyd Alexander apparently are doing something for someone, as they're the ones that questioned her about what she saw, and were very, very interested in who went after the creature. And told her to get lost. Presumably they're the ones with the body. Meanwhile, back at Torchwood headquarters, Theodora administered her antidote to the creature, who had finally been subdued by Barnaby's working restraint system, which he paid for dearly with a punch into the side of a cage and a couple of hours in consciousness. And we discovered, once the creature got done transforming, that it was the coroner that Theodora and Barnaby met when they were looking for information on the death of McNamara. Of course, coroner had seen better times. He did survive the transformation, though. His name is Dr. Nicholas Maltby. And he was unconscious for quite some time thereafter. Let's see. Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood came back to Torchwood with their witness. Put her up in guest quarters there at Torchwood headquarters. And Margaret Featherstone sent everyone to bed because they'd been up for an incredibly long period of time and were tired. In the morning, starting fresh, Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood went out to investigate what they could find at the. Well, they didn't go out just yet. There was some questioning of the coroner. He didn't want to talk much, but was convinced to do so, and he mentioned that he had been feeling ill after it started coming up on him after he'd gone after encountering Theodora and Barnaby, after they'd had the body for about McNamara's body for about a day or so. That he'd inadvertently cut his finger on the jagged rib cage of McNamara, which also had some of the first samples of the serum that Barnaby and Theodora recovered. After that, he went home early, discovered his wife was apparently having an affair with a local handyman named Harmon McLaughlin, an Irishman that he did not think much of. And after some cajoling, recalled that he'd killed both his wife and then had hunted down Harmon and killed him there by the bar, which is so we now have a name to go with the missing body. At that point, Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood were sent out to investigate the coroner's residence. Found that someone had been there. Door had been kicked in. Scenes of a struggle. Found Harvey McLaughlin's pants left in one of the front rooms. Someone had tried to have a romantic dinner, it looked like, at some point there. There were candles that had burned down. Plates thrown about at things. Someone throwing plates at something else. Upstairs, the master bedroom. It looked like there had been a rather pitched battle in there, which had resulted in the unfortunate demise of Dr. Maltby's wife, Verna. Her body was found still there in the master bedroom. At that point, Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood decided to try and track where Harmon and then perhaps the Beast went next. Did so, finding that Harmon went out a window and so did the Beast. Tracked him eventually back towards the part of town where Harmon met his unfortunate demise, having apparently drowned his sorrows in the bar and picked up Jess for some companionship, only to be intercepted and ultimately murdered by the coroner in beast form. At that point, Hezekiah and Lieutenant Fogwood decided that they would attempt to figure out where the body may have gone next, and were heading towards a local hospital, and found that sure enough, the night crew, as it were, had mentioned that it's been kind of a weird situation with a couple of police officers bringing in a body, storing it in their morgue in the basement for a time. Very hush-hush, the odd thing, a lot of odd injuries, not a lot of questions, weren't allowed to examine it, kind of a thing. And as we left it, they were heading downstairs to go check out the morgue.
We're going into a morgue, one of the safest places in the whole world.
In a basement in a hospital where no one knows that you are. What could possibly go wrong?
The guy in the Egger suit can show up.
We'll be fine.
Fine. All right. So now, some questions about your characters, if I may, so that I might learn about them, and we can all learn about them together.
Learning is good.
Learning is good. So I think we'll just go in order of tabs on the character sheet. Will has skipped out on this, so we can't question him. Coincidence? I think not. So we will start with you, Mr. James.
Uh-huh.
I think my first question would be about your code of conduct. Honorable. So where did you pick that up? Something you've always had? Was there something that happened that triggered that? That situation you were in, where something like that, or?
My father was not honorable. And I got to observe that up close and personal alongside my mother, who made it a point to then kind of have me spend time in the company of another gentleman who was honorable, and kind of give me a role model to emulate. I don't know that gentleman's name yet.
All right. So your mother wanted to be better than your father, then, is what I'm looking at there.
Actually, well, I'll say his name is Elias James. Father, don't know where he is. Mother died of consumption, and then was sort of raised to adulthood by Elias.
Interesting.
Was from London originally.
Who was from London originally? I lost a bit there.
Elias.
Interesting.
Anyway, he taught me how to be a decent person.
which you promptly forgot.
I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
So, you're rather skilled with, skilled in fighting and definitely skilled with the pistols. Where did you pick that up at?
That was me being difficult. Elias was ridiculously good with a sword. I was never going to be good enough with that, so I picked up guns instead, and turns out I'm actually quite good at those.
Plays a stormtrooper who likes melee combat, and plays.
I got tired of killing everything with a vibro-axe, so I thought, why not use guns this time?
Guns are better. My stress levels stay lower when I shoot things or hack them to pieces. I'm beginning to sense a theme.
Kind of does. Kind of does. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of demand for someone with your skill with pistols. What have you done with it? What have you done with it over the years? In America, there are plenty of wars with which to fight, or gunslingers in the West, or.
I spent some time in the United States. Obviously, I was born there, and I worked for various organizations momentarily for the Pinkertons weren't in existence yet, were they? No, not yet.
Yes, they were.
Were they? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Momentarily for them, and then for what I suppose would have then been the beginnings of a shadowy government organization. That was really unpleasant. He quickly left that, which is part of the reason why he decided London is looking much better right now. And he found his way to London. We connected with Elias, who at this point had returned to London.
Interesting.
He suggested that I might be able to find something something gainful. He knew some people, and those people knew some other people, and those other people were known by Margaret Featherston.
Oh. So Elias knew people who knew other people who knew
No.
Margaret.
They did not know her. She knew them.
Ah, yes. Were known.
Her, she approached them. I need him. That's probably how that went.
Interesting. So, well, okay, so here's a question. So, do you know what brought you to the attention of Torchwood / the Queen / Margaret Featherston?
Nope, haven't the faintest idea. Every time I'm asked, I get a blank stare, a change of subject, or a specific direction to go and lift that, carry that, pull that, shoot that, fight that, find that.
I'm sure there's nothing I can do with any of that.
No, of course not.
Not at all. No, not at all.
You are absolutely welcome, Bryce. You're so welcome.
I appreciate it. You are the gift that keeps on giving. You come up with the best stuff. And you're like, yes, I take all of these things.
It's like maybe I'm a game master and I know what you like.
It's weird, right? I know. Strange. You should look into that or something. So your guns, Esmeralda and Beatrice. Where did you first pick them up at?
Those came from Elias.
Did you ever mention anything about their provenance?
He said they were very old. And I'm looking at him going, these can't be that old. This is modern technology. To which he replied nothing. And then he said, treat them well. Do not misuse them. And they will always return.
Hmm.
And then he said, give them good names. To which I looked at him like he was crazy. But Elias does not joke. So
Hmm. And swing back to the code of conduct for one last question. What does it mean to you to be honorable?
I protect the weak. I do not lie. I do not maintain service to an dishonorable employer or master, king, queen, whatever. And he said, do not lie. I protect the weak. Basically, he's a cavalier.
All right.
Not stupid, however.
Oh, no. No, most certainly not. And 3 ingenuity is not stupid. And not, Barnaby or
No.
Theodora, but no, it is not. That is far from stupid.
It's that he doesn't take pointless risks. That makes no sense.
Yeah. So we will move to the next tab on the character sheet and find good Lieutenant Fogwood.
Yeah.
Here indeed. So I guess my first question is about your military record. How long did you serve in the Army there? Well, I know I suppose the Army was the Navy. I'm thinking it was the Army, but
I'm still serving.
you're just on loan.
Oh, you've been stationed there. What kind of pull does this woman have? Good grief.
Well, how long have you been in service then?
Since my 18th year. So I'd say 10, 12 years now.
Mm. Now I feel like I need to bounce over to a tab here and find out. British military engagement. Spell it correctly, it works out even better when you're doing a Google search. Let's see. List of wars involving the United Kingdom. Wikipedia will load at some point. No, I don't want to donate to you, Wikipedia. I get it, but I'm busy. Let's see. Wow. That's good in her allies. Okay.
What year is this set in?
1880. So we're looking from like 1868 to present.
Zulu Wars?
Ah,
Which
take
one?
that.
Zulu Wars was fought in 1879.
Oh, I like it. Did you serve in that one then?
Oh, yes, I did.
Well, I'm assuming that you served with distinction since you're here.
Yes, I was decorated.
Wounded at all?
Christmas lights.
Wounded at all?
Slightly wounded, yes. Which is for English. Yeah, I spent some time in the hospital after that.
I nearly lost a leg and an arm. Briefly.
So that would be a pretty recent thing. So the Torchwood posting, is it something that I'm assuming were you approached for it, or did you hear about it through some connection and put in for it, or?
My superior at the time came to see me at the hospital and said they were going to put me on light duty and assign me to this new organization.
And what did you think of that?
Well, I'm all for doing my give myself to the Queen and duty, and I figure this is only temporary. They're probably putting until I fully recover. They didn't want to put me into any tough situations.
How's that going so far, not being in tough situations?
Not so tough. Some very strange and out of the ordinary things happening here.
Have you experienced anything? Hold on a second here. I cannot get my throat to stay clear for some reason here. Have you experienced anything weird or out of the ordinary like this before you came to Torchwood? Somewhere out there, one of your many campaigns.
During the Zulu War, I could have swore I saw a big blue box on a mountain.
Did you report that big blue box?
Oh no, I didn't want to be put on that kind of assignment. You know what I mean?
Ah.
I didn't want to wear those tight-fitting jackets.
Interesting. No, we don't. We definitely don't want that at all. Not at all. So let's talk a bit about your pre-military career. I mean, you're an officer, so I'm sure Andrea could correct me on that if I'm wrong about this, but in this time period, aren't most officers of rather well-to-do families, and so far, the good breeding and whatnot there?
Yes, of course.
I think it to be rare that you actually work your way up to being an officer from the lower stations in life.
No. I was given my rank after recruitment, after training. Wasn't put in with that rabble.
So how prominent are the... I still want to... I'm still terribly calling you like Fogwell. I don't know why I cannot stop calling you Fogwell. It's weird. So how prominent are the Fogwoods?
I would say mother is a very involved in society. Father, of course, is a retired colonel. They've since gone off to the estate in the country, and though I have not been there, I've got the house in London.
At the country estate. You close with your parents?
What was that, Bryce?
You close with your parents?
No, as close as anyone could be, yes. So I'm not sure in my next letter how I'm going to explain what I am doing now.
What I do and say vague things.
Vague thing. You know, you don't think it's possible that your mother and or father pulled some strings to get you rotated back to London, away from the wars on the frontier?
I suppose it could be possible, though I did explicitly tell Father not to interfere with my career, to let it unfold.
Him interfering with your career a problem?
It possibly could be, but I had to talk with him before I left.
Man to man, as it were?
Man to man. When we were on the fox hunt.
And how do you take such things?
I believe he respected my decision and my request. He is a colonel, a man of honor.
He nodded every time you said, "Don't do that," didn't he?
Right.
Yes. Of course. Yes, of course. What?
So is it a social faux pas to use handguns on a fox hunt? Because I got strange looks last time.
That is not sporting at all, my good man.
Leave the nodding. Andrea says yes.
What? But you're just mad because I didn't miss.
Everyone else has got rifles, just kind of fanning a 6-shooter in the direction of it.
Jealous.
You'll never be invited to join the club with that kind of behavior, my good man.
So much.
Okay.
All right. So we will shift to the next tab on the character sheet, and we find ourselves with Fitz, also known as Fitzhugh Nagel.
Yes, sir.
So, expert in criminology and interrogation with a photographic memory.
Yes, sir.
Idyllic memory.
So, a question is, where did you pick up those skills?
My father.
Was he someone of note, or?
He was one of the chief detectives for Scotland Yard. So he trained me from the time I was a little one to pick things apart.
Hmm. A lot of strong father figures here. I'm liking it.
And mother figures.
Yes, that too. All right. So I guess the next question I have is, how come you are not working for the yard? It would be pretty easy given your legacy to get a job there.
Um, my father lost his job, was kicked out for a mistake that he didn't actually make, well, in my opinion. And as a result, I have a severe dislike of Scotland Yard myself.
Oh, I can totally see that. Holding a bit of a grudge there. What mistake is he thought to have made?
Sherlock Hemlock. Okay, now I have to look. Hang on, let me see. Um, he was investigating a gentleman who was leading a group of people called Garrotters.
Investigating a man leading Garrotters?
Yes.
Why was he investigating them? I mean, other than their...
It was a mass. It was actually a mass crime wave that was going on. He found out that some of it was being falsified by the Navy because they were pressing these people into service and using the fact that they were criminals as their justification.
Hmm. So what mistake was he? So what was him? How was he framed, then, as it were, and pushed out of the way?
Basically, he found out the truth, but there were powerful people who didn't want that particular bit of information getting out, so they made him look like he was fabricating the entire story and pushed him out of service.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. Well, that would certainly give me a bit of chip on my shoulder. Is your father bitter about such things?
He's actually just, well, probably, but I haven't seen him much since then. He kind of retired up into Northumbria and has been fishing for a living since he left.
All right. But you became a detective anyway, clearly. So we've been perhaps freelancing since then, or what have you been doing with your detective skills?
Somewhat some private detective type activities. He especially likes showing up Scotland Yard on their own investigations.
Understandable. Understandable. Like other detectives might or have done in stories. Nothing at all. What are you talking about? Alright. So, next question. So, you've got an adversary. Tell me a bit about that little situation. How, and the result of a case, just someone you rubbed the wrong way, ruin someone's master plan. What are we looking at here?
Sorry, I'm trying to think this through.
No, just start talking out loud. I won't use it all against you.
He is actually he's like a lead. I'd say he's a leader in organized crime in London. And at this point, he always has a solid alibi. I can never pin anything on him. Even though I know he's involved, he's always got some other flunky to stick it with.
And you guys have been playing this cat and mouse game for a while now, or?
Yeah, a couple years. And we're definitely like adversaries, but at the same time, it's almost I wouldn't say friendly rivalry, but not openly hostile necessarily.
Well, it must be since he hasn't used his organized crime contacts to, try and have you killed, unless he has.
Not that succeeded at this point, but yeah.
It's one of those gentlemanly things, right? Where like we're not so different, you and I. In another world, another universe, we could have been friends, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
That, and he always knows where I'm going to be before I get there.
Wow, that's annoying.
Lee Jansen remains the gift that keeps on. And then you guys brought him back after you guys told me that I couldn't.
We never say anything about we couldn't.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I was like, no, you can't bring him back. Let's bring back Lee Jansen. I'm like, this amuses me.
You didn't say he wasn't an interesting tool.
Oh, no. He is phenomenal.
But Brandon still has nightmares about it.
Yeah, maybe that's why he hasn't messaged me back after I asked him when he wanted to start playing with us again. Maybe he remembered Lee Jansen and ran screaming for the hills or into the desert in Nevada.
Careful, there's spiders.
Oh, also remains one of the more amusing things.
That was really
jumped up and sprinted away right in the middle of the scene.
no, it was really funny. They didn't initially say anything. They just ran.
They just cleared the hell on out.
Like, what
is your house? Like, is your house on fire? Is there an armed intruder? Are you okay?
And then we had a commotion. The best.
Like we're watching an active mugging. Oh my god! Like a home invasion. Holy shit! Should I call the police or something?
All I needed was the Benny Hill music.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good old days. When my internet really, really sucked.
Yeah, too bad you weren't recording back then.
Oh god, that was terrible.
Like a drive-through.
Pretty much, everybody clear over a drive-through speaker. Some of those nights. Okay, so you got an adversary, and you clearly have some skill. So, how did you overcome this? The black mark that's against your father's name to come to the attention of those who put together this Torchwood team. Did you seek it out, or did it find you one day? Or...
I solved a crime that had stumped some of the Scotland Yard detectives. Mainly because I noticed a piece of detail that they missed.
All right.
It was a murder of a lesser nobleman. And part of the problem was that they were trying to cover up he was murdered in a house of ill repute. And so rather than doing their jobs, they were trying to cover up the fact that he was philandering.
Ah.
Oh, come on. Not merely philandering. I mean, philandering.
A dogged pursuit of the truth. All right. Okay. Interesting. I guess one more question looking at your character sheet. How well known is your dependency on alcohol? Do you keep that under wraps, or is it kind of like an open secret kind of a thing?
I don't really. I will routinely just sit there with a drink in my hand, even though it's probably not appropriate for all social situations.
Okay. All right. Moving to the next tab, then. Find yourself with Dr. Theodora Hale.
Yes.
I suppose the first question we have here is that oddity in this in this time frame is certainly a rarity for a woman to gain a medical degree and become a doctor. Certainly existing outside of normal things here. So, the question is, first off, what motivated you to become a doctor?
My father was a physician and served in the army over in India. My mother had accompanied him along with myself. I believe I was 2 at the time that he went over. And he obviously was the medic or the doctor for the armed forces that were in residence over there. I started accompanying him on his rounds when I was a child, just as he liked to humor me. I was very curious about what he would do during the day, so A lot of times he would take me around with him on his rounds. Obviously, I didn't sit in on any surgeries because that probably wouldn't have been a good idea for a child of my age at that time.
Yeah, that would not be your field.
But when I got old enough, I picked up a few things watching him as I got older. Then he started instructing me when I was about 15, 16. And then I would actually accompany him on his rounds, and just as a intern would. Unfortunately, my mother passed away while we were in India. When his residency was finished there, we came back to London. And I attended Royal Free because of his military record. They allowed me to study at Royal Free Hospital. And went from there.
Interesting. Oh, too many things going on the desk here. All right. So, had you become or how long were you a practicing physician before Torchwood came along?
About 6 months. So I'm still relatively a new physician.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Interesting. So, was the Torchwood appointment something that you'd heard about and sought out, or did they come and find you?
Actually, when my father passed away, the Crown stepped in and said they would finish my education if I consented to work for Torchwood.
Interesting. And what did you think? What did you think of their offer? Finishing your education is nice and all, but
Well, nothing comes without a price. However, I'm not allowed to serve in the military, so I figured this was the next best thing.
had you had any experience with unusual phenomenon or anything like that before you became part of Torchwood?
Not in London. India being full of magicians and fakirs and all sorts of wives' tales. Of course, I was exposed to a lot of that from a lot of the ladies, some of the street magicians. But nothing really out of the ordinary per se, ghosts or werewolves or vampires or any other sort of thing.
What did you think of the old wives' tales as they were in India?
Well, they were entertaining when I was a child. As I got older, they were just stories to me. I didn't really put much credit in them actually being real. But you know how things change over time.
Indeed. Hmm. Have you encountered a lot of resentment given your career choice and the rather prestigious posting you have obtained despite being such a relatively new doctor?
Oh, of course. Not a lot of men are comfortable with a female doctor. Women are not allowed to serve in the military in any capacity, really. So I did. I mean, you know, I've come across people who say, you should be a doctor, you should be home cooking for your husband, and so forth and so on, which I see nothing wrong with that. However, it's not for me. I never felt the urge to get married and have a family, and I'm a housewife.
Dr. Housewife.
MD.
Dr. Housewife. That sounds like a fake series on Lifetime or something like that. Dr. Housewife, MD. Looks like there was single female lawyer from Futurama. And we move now to the final tab on our character sheet. This is Margaret Featherston.
Nice, Bob.
So now then, Miss Featherston. So I guess my question here is, first up, the old favor of Lady Southampton. What's all that about?
I convinced my husband to take on Lady Southampton's case, a trifling matter of inheritance and broken contracts, which was unjustly served because she is a woman. And he won the case, and now she owes me. She is a lady of Queen Victoria's court and therefore has her ear, and is therefore a very important ally.
Hmm. So did this play any part in your obtaining the Torchwood position that you have, or come
yes.
by that another way?
Absolutely. It was my acquaintance with Lady Southampton.
All right. Very good. Very good. So, about this husband of yours. Must be, you know, we've met him a little bit in game, but he must be a successful lawyer of some sort there.
We call him
Yes.
Mr. Margaret Featherston.
He is a very successful lawyer. He is excellent at niggling out the details of contracts.
And what was his name again? I can't remember.
Stanton.
Stanton?
Stanton.
Stanton Featherston?
Mm-hmm. Same
Quality
last name.
name.
Shocking. I know. I love
know.
that name. I read it in a ghost story, and I'm like, that is his name.
All right. And so, husband, successful lawyer. You have the favor of someone in Queen Victoria's court. Probably, I don't know, a variety of options or pathways things could have taken. Did you have other choices, or was Torchwood your only choice, or did you choose Torchwood, in relation to other things you could have done with your favor?
Well, Torchwood is the most meaningful choice. It's not so much repayment of her favor to me as it was sort of a favor, another favor I owe her. It's kind of a mutual thing. Because I fit all the qualifications without being a known entity in the public eye, so to speak.
All right. So you say it's the most meaningful choice. What are you hoping to gain from this?
More favors.
If anything.
More connections.
More
It's also very filling, unlike several of the charities I've worked for.
Yeah. Spending the realm does have its seems a bit more rewarding than charity work, I suppose.
Well, I mean, it's promised to be more rewarding. We haven't quite actually managed to find anything of significance yet.
Yeah. How much of a hand did you have in recruiting the? Torchwood is bigger than just the field agents here. There's an infrastructure that's being put into place and whatnot to not just find these threats, but catalog all these artifacts that you're going to find, that the Queen seems to anticipate that you'll find and whatnot there. So how much of a role did you play in assembling this first team of field agents?
Names were suggested. I spent a great deal of time perusing folders and conducting interviews and letters of recommendation. And of course, the people sending the letters of recommendation.
Anyone take not being selected personally?
For the first few weeks, there was a particular George Chestnut of questionable character and even more questionable birth who had applied himself, and I turned him down. He made a habit of lurking outside of the door. I can't imagine what became of him.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine at all. Anything else I don't already know? I've got way too many windows open. I gotta close some of these windows that I've been clicking links on. It's all over the place now. Yeah, I know that feeling. That's just standing. So, refresh my memory. How many kids did you guys have again? I remember there was a daughter named Peg who we were concerned about her reputation there for a bit.
Yes. There is Peg. There is another little girl named Lucy. And we also have a son, Edward. No, wait, no, Stanton, of course. It's Victorian era. Everyone names their sons after their fathers. Genealogy is hard if you try to follow Victorian genealogy.
I don't know if there's anything else. I think that kind of covers it for right now. Well, one more thing. So, Uno Mas. So the modest budget you're trying to maintain, is that your own imposition, or was there pressure from somewhere else to control costs on this venture?
We're a function of the government. We have a budget.
Some would say
I'm trying to impress my superiors with my budget keeping skills.
Okay.
Which is immediately blown as soon as Will gets a scene. On a cow.
On a cow that we ripped apart.
And there was 3 months worth of budgeting. Great. Thanks, Will.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
What happened to the cow? Well, about that.
Are you familiar with meat-flavored shrapnel?
That's an interesting story.
I hope we sold it to the butchers.
The dairy cow, though. All right. So I think with that round of questioning, I will take that information and process it, and I'm sure nothing will come of it at any point.
Oh no, not at all.
Nope, not at all. So we are going to kick things off at Torchwood HQ, where we find Theodora and Margaret. Barnaby has buried himself in what he's only said in mumbling tones is something that is extraordinary, and has not gone into any real detail since he said that. And Fitz is here as well, having slept off last night's activities of drinking, carousing. The answer's in here somewhere, I'm telling you. And he just jumped in, and then that was all there was to it. Fitz has, having slept off last night, carousing, drinking, bare knuckle boxing, fight with a weird man beast kind of activities there. The witness, one Jess Oswald, has been dressed appropriately for her surroundings by the staff. Her clothes and any other possessions may have in fact been chunked in the incinerator already. It's hard to tell. The coroner is in the cage. He is awake and alert, of course, but without the healing factor that the rodent that's been mutated displayed. He is suffering from the effects of the rather grievous injuries he suffered while in beast form, notably having his Achilles tendon sawed in two, and an unfortunate encounter involving his kneecap and a pair of close-range bullet wounds.
You regenerate. Interesting.
So he's not terribly comfortable and is not going to be walking anytime soon. Of course, also now that he kind of realizes what he has done, is kind of admitted, as anyone might be, kind of horrified and trying to make sense of it all. And begin.
Well, I think I would have told our guest to go to the dining room and enjoy some breakfast. And then
well, thanks. I don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Margaret actually looks insulted.
I go over.
Yeah, better enter something quick.
Well, no, you guys aren't there. You guys are off wandering towards the hospital there. You guys are on an adventure of your own. This is...
Damn it.
There is nothing you can do to stop this. But yeah, Margaret actually looks insulted, and she says, my dear, you are a guest here.
Oh, I didn't know what the rules were. Usually they make us pay for food in places where I stay.
Why don't you help yourself to some breakfast? Feel free to order anything you like from the kitchen. And if it's available, I'm certain the cook will make it for you. I will be with you momentarily to explain the rules of your stay here.
Kind of, well, thank you. And kind of heads off towards the kitchen. It's kind of one of those things where she's kind of weirdly tugging at her clothes. The whole thing when you're wearing something you don't usually wear. It's like you wear t-shirts all the time, then you find yourself in a suit. You're just kind of absently tugging at things. Just kind of, what is this thing?
Yeah, there's a full skirt, and her boobs are covered. That must be uncomfortable.
Exactly. She does not know what to really do with this whole thing.
Mr. Nagel, Dr. Hale, if you would please join me in my office.
Sure.
Is there any chance of the coroner returning to his previous state?
Look at Dr. Hale.
With the serum, it's hard to tell sometimes because it's still relatively new. I mean, I obviously have never seen this before. So I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be something permanent or if it's going to be something temporary. With the rat, it didn't seem to regress back into the creature, for lack of a better word. But with humans, it could be different. I don't know. I'd like to keep him at least under observation for another 24 hours before letting him go.
Done. In the meantime, I would like to send the two of you to meet this Inspector Woosley. I believe you've already made his acquaintance, Dr. Hill.
Yes.
Notify him that there was a murder at the coroner's house, and we have the culprit. There's also likely a second victim. And that following your advice, he will be available for pickup in 24 hours.
All right.
I would also like to investigate the previous victims. If we've learned anything from our coroner, it's that these creatures are not acting without purpose. Oh, and of course, see what you can find out about our missing constables. If there was anything unusual in the reports, if they reported any suspicious individuals. And see if their description matches Miss Jessica's.
In the meantime, I'd like to give the coroner at least one more shot.
Of course. You are his primary physician.
It's a breakfast. I'm sure he's hungry.
Is there any foods you recommend, given his condition?
No, I would imagine just regular breakfast food. Should be fine.
I will tell Cook to send something down. Anything either of you would like to add?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Very thorough as always.
Child. Is that like people chum or something? I mean, what do you call that?
All right, then see to it. I will be awaiting your report. And then I will start filling out a card thanking the railroad for the loan of their books, apologizing for the condition in which they found their friend. I would take it over personally, but I'm busy. I can't leave a whore alone in Torchwood, you guys. This is terrible.
Something happens.
All right, so you're filling out a card, not wanting to leave the lady of the evening
It's important.
alone. So Fitz and Theodore, you guys are heading out to
Checking out the patient first, and then.
Yeah, that's right. So yes, you find the good, well, formerly good doctor. Actual good status is up for debate. Sorry, there's a weird sound in my headset. Sounds like a phone ringing.
Sorry, that was on my end. My apologies.
I'm just like, where did that just come from? So yes, you find him, kind of, laid out on the on the cotton there. Not some. He's kind of gotten himself to kind of a sitting position, but the injuries to his legs makes it to him moving about an issue there. And he kind of looks up and he sees like, oh, yes. Well, I suppose I get some. I suppose it's. I don't know something I should ask for, but some breakfast or something. I find myself rather hungry.
Having the cook make you some breakfast now. You should be bringing it down shortly.
Well, that's a good thing. It kind of, I guess, seem to have been through a lot with what I was doing. I'm glad I'm glad your friends stopped me before I could kill anyone else.
Yes, we are too, actually. Do you mind if I have a look at your leg?
Absolutely. I tell you, it hurts like the dickens.
I can help with that.
Looks like somebody shot you in the knee. And possibly chopped your Achilles tendon. How'd that happen?
Don't ask.
I have no idea how that gunshot situation occurred. I don't know.
I remember what happened and what I did and what I was. If you guys had have done that, I think I would have done to you what I did to. It kind of trails off my wife and that other fellow.
You know why you started doing this?
What was that?
You know what happened to cause this outburst?
No, I hadn't been feeling well, and so I went home. I started to, I don't know, just start to feel under the weather. It was like warm and kind of sweaty and clammy and just having trouble focusing. And so I knocked off early. Is why I stay at work, and I got back to my house right unexpectedly, and found my wife. And I really hate to speak ill of the dead, but it's an Irish guy that we'd hired to work around the house a bit. I don't need to go into details, do I, as what they were doing. I'm sure you can figure it out.
Polishing the old shillelagh?
To put it crudely, yes, if you must. I was
so wrong. So wrong.
I was so angry, and I couldn't. I tried, man of breeding, try and stiff up her lip, but I just could not. I chased them all around the house. And my wife tried to stop me. I just kind of pushed her away, and this is just. I think there was, at one point he was even like throwing my own dishes at me, trying to get me to stop, and God, eventually he hit me in like the head and managed to escape and went out the window. I think he went out the door. Since he seemed to have left his pants behind. The wife tried to explain it away or talk about it or whatever, and just couldn't stop being angry with her. The argument escalated. She locked herself in the bedroom. I was downstairs, just couldn't stop thinking about it, and I don't know, then it was later, and I saw her, and I went after her. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I don't need to go tell you all the gritty details of this, do I?
At what point did the beast come to the surface?
To the what? To the surface? What?
You don't have any recollection of being about 8 feet tall and covered in hair?
I mean,
Is that normally what happens with you when you get angry?
no, I'm trying to piece it together, man. I mean, it was. I said I think I might have been unconscious for a time, and come to think of it, it's hard because I wasn't thinking like clearly, so it's hard to kind of. I mean, I know what I did, but trying to figure out how and the why is hard to.
At what point did you stop thinking clearly? When you took the nap?
I don't even know that I took a nap. I was just unconscious. I must have taken a nap. I don't know. I was in my
when you
chair
were
and I was
unconscious, is that when you stopped thinking? When you woke up from being unconscious?
Yeah. That's when
Okay.
it gets fuzzier and fuzzier, and
Did you have exposure to any chemicals?
Well, I cut my finger on that McNamara fellow, the archaeologist explorer fellow that your doctor and that other one points towards Barnaby and are asking about. I don't know what that has anything to do. They seem to be terribly interested in that. But,
Well, it sounds like it's a pathogen of some sort then. I say to Dr. Hale, not really to him. I mean, we knew it was some sort of chemical, right? But
Well, yeah, it is. It's
is it communicable, evidently, from...
well, I mean, it's obviously bloodborne.
So, for instance, if we were to give it to another rat and then feed them to a cat, would the cat turn into a bigger, meaner cat?
Well, once it gets into the bloodstream, there's no telling what it can do. Just kidding. Actually, I mean, if they eat it, or even if it's injected into them, or if it's accidentally introduced into the system, it's going to affect the bloodstream, obviously. I mean, it's a mix of organic elements, isn't it? There's not really any chemical in it. I mean, I've never seen that particular formula before either. But yeah, it's mostly bloodborne than anything else at this point. But I'm sure if we injected some food and fed it to an animal, eventually it would take on those characteristics. But again, it depends on how much you put into the food.
But if the rat scratched the cat, it would probably get it for sure then.
That's very possible.
Given he scratched himself doing, what, the autopsy?
Well, he cut himself and then came into contact with the serum. That makes me wonder, though, if we did try some tests, I wonder if we fed it to them in minimal doses, if it would just adapt or if it would mutate or... I'll have to think about that later.
It sounds like an exceptionally bad idea.
if Nora the Skeptic, I love this plan. Just start experimenting on things. I say go for it.
I say we make a cow that Barnaby can't kill. Cowzilla. We do have.
Oh no. Oh wow.
That's a very Pandora's Fury way of thinking here.
I know, right?
Let's slip some into her breakfast food. I'm going to have to come back to that.
Why does this food taste funny? Oh, that's just good food. You're not used to it.
It was breakfast to monster juice. Let's see if she noticed.
Monster chow. There we go.
That's called rich people's food. Just drink it.
It tastes a little different because it's better ingredients.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
I know we've got too much on our plate at the moment, so I'll have to shelve that thought and come back to it later.
The coroner's just kind of staring at you guys. What are you guys talking about? Pathogen? What?
The serum that you came into contact with.
Serum? It's kind of like. Is that how they're becoming? Is that how the monster thing? That ghastly affair in the press and what happened to Matthew? Is it what kind of serum is making people do that?
Apparently.
So someone did this to me then.
Well, strictly speaking, you did it yourself by cutting yourself in the middle of an autopsy.
Yeah.
You might want to consider wearing gloves.
You kind of glares at you.
I'm going to make the guy mad. He's going to tear my arm off.
Excuse Mr. Fitzhume. He's not known for his bedside manner.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry and it starts waylaying the hell out of you.
I wouldn't suggest upsetting him. That's.
Sorry.
So one of the servants comes in with a tray of some food there for him, with like a doctor. It's kind of nervously there. It's like, it looks like you guys. Is it safe to hand him this?
There's nothing wrong with the food. I didn't put anything in it, so.
No, I think she's talking about the. Is it the person with the food that's asking?
Yeah. The servant. Like I saw what it did to Mr. Cornwallis when he went in there.
Well, just don't throw the plates at him, and you'll be fine.
I'll take it. Thank you. Give the coroner the tray and let him have his breakfast.
So he takes it and is grateful and kind of looks over the tray and kind of looks up at you like, not to be picky, but I don't suppose you guys have any of that he looks at his notes for something that's totally not important and should not be considered as anything less important just because the GM is looking at his notes. And is that Lewison's tonic? We usually have a shot of that with my breakfast. It puts quite the pep in my step. I'm sure you guys have heard of it.
Sure, we can accommodate that.
Really? When did you start drinking the Lewison's tonic?
It's been a while back now, and it's people who have operated in rather the upper levels of society. You guys have heard of it. It's something that's been around. It's been around for. First started really making a name for itself. Roughly 3.5 months ago or so. One of those cure-alls, tonics that people start swearing by, and then everyone has to have it to look good and whatnot.
Snake oil.
You call it what you will, but yeah, that kind of thing.
Dr. Hale, can I have a moment?
Sure. Excuse us.
Is there any chance that tonic might be the source of the serum and not the cut in his hand?
Considering how many people actually drink it, I'm sure there would be more creatures running around if it was. But it is a good question.
Well, he also experienced some heavy emotional trauma. I'm just wondering if it's a combination of, say, adrenaline and having the presence of this in your body.
Well, what I found with the rats and with him, the aggression level was higher when the serum was working. Checking my notes real quick. I mean, obviously there's some emotional response that also triggers the serum to work. But I'll have one of the servants go out and fetch a bottle of that tonic and bring it back, and we'll.
I mean, I would say go ahead and let him have it at this point, but it might be worth testing a bottle too, just to find out. It's probably just snake oil, but
Most likely, usually most tonics are. I'll send one of them out to fetch a bottle, and I'll check on that when we come back.
puts pep back in your step, eh?
Oh yeah.
Well, so does cocaine, but
Well, nothing wrong with cocaine. That's a wonder drug.
I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah.
Does it also, bring you back up to speed?
Gives me
Those
wings
wonder drugs
too.
usually do
If you
that.
want to cover everything there.
all right. Well, we'll have one of the servants. We don't keep a bottle here, but we'll have one of the servants go out and fetch one. It may not be right away, but eventually you'll get it.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything you've done.
I'm going to leave you with a couple painkillers for your injuries, and then when I come back, I am going to inject you with another dose of the antidote.
Meanwhile, enjoy the cage.
We do have this wonder drug that we've discovered called morphine.
Sorry, that was already discovered by somebody else.
Give you all the laudanum.
We'll have a few books brought down for you to keep your mind occupied. I'm sure it's.
Thank you.
Mr. Fitzgerald, shall we?
Of course.
A disembodied voice says from an out-of-focus room. Right, so you guys head out. You dispatch one of the servants to retrieve the tonic. So we will now smash cut to Fogwood and Hezekiah.
This Friday on Fox.
Like, oh look, this door
like a bad odd couple.
It seems this door has shut and we can't go back out. Really? It'll be fine.
Fogwood and the American.
Let's hide behind those chainsaws.
Why don't we just get into the running car? Are you crazy? right. So you guys are at. We gave the hospital a name. So let's call it the Angels of Mercy Hospital. And are on your way down to the totally not creepy basement where bodies are stored as you continue to trace the steps of where this body seemingly wandered off to.
Okay. What could possibly go on here?
Nothing could ever possibly go wrong. What are you talking about?
So, have you ever noted that the names of hospitals seems to be inversely related to what actually happens in them?
Whatever do you mean?
You did see the state of those people as we came through.
Yes.
Does that look merciful to you?
Well, for that lot, yes.
Never mind. I forgot who I was talking to momentarily.
Well played. For that lot, yeah, totally. All right, so you guys are heading down the stairs. Reach the basement. Is not the best of lighting conditions down here.
Okay.
Second year advertisement.
I'm checking my. No, I have nothing that actually casts light, except from the muzzle flash. But no, that does not seem to be useful right now. All right.
And you find there's basically you get down here and not the best of lighting conditions. Not like it's black or darkness or pitch black or anything like that. But
definitely not bright though.
Not bright. Yeah, it's not the brightly lit fluorescent hallways of modern day hospitals. Is what I'm saying.
Not that takes away the creepy.
Yes. And you've got a desk, and there's an attendant sitting behind it. Behind him is kind of an impressive looking door. And it's kind of like, looks up at you and like, you guys lost or here to claim a body or?
We actually, I find it's better when Lieutenant Fogwood handles these things. I just look at him.
Oh, my good man, we are on official business of the Queen. Would you happen to have any candles?
Well, yes. The Queen sent you here to get candles?
No, we need candles to go see when we're going to the morgue.
Okay.
And he says that very condescendingly.
So yeah, he fishes you out some candles and lights them for you. And so you got the little holders and stuff there.
Put the candle back. Thank you, my good man. Carry on with whatever you were doing.
Okay.
I say to him, what was he doing? I don't think he was doing anything.
I don't know.
I thought that was just me. Huh. Okay, so perhaps you should have just asked him. Maybe he knew.
But it's more fun for the candles.
I'm just saying.
Um.
Oh, look. There's a light switch.
Did they have those yet? 1890s?
Yeah,
Yes,
electricity wasn't
my wife just informed me they did.
It did.
mostly.
In the basements of hospitals? Really?
Well, yeah, they had them. They would have had at least some rudimentary refrigeration stuff in there. As I was kind of poking around researching morgues and whatnot of the late 19th century for no reason, which probably did not screw up my Google search history at all.
Okay, coolness. All right. Then in that case, a light switch. Let's turn that on. Sodium light? Or is that on the outside?
And I'm not sure about.
All right, we have light.
You have light.
All right, we enter the morgue. This is going to be
yeah.
else.
And then you've got some gurneys that are here that you could put bodies on. There aren't any on them at this point. There are you've got basically kind of like on one of the walls you've got a bunch of doors which are the cover the slots where bodies are stored here.
Oh, why don't you start at the left and I'll start at the right?
I'm sorry, did we get an actual description of the Irishman? Apart from the fact that he's, Irish.
Well, red hair.
Well, I would point out that you
Silly
did
green
see
outfit.
Hezekiah, you and Fitz did see the body, so you would have some idea of what the body was in.
That's right. That's right. We did.
The body. Yeah, Fogwell wasn't there for it, but you would have some.
You're right. I did see him. Okay. Good grief. All right. In which case, I inform it. No. Actually, he does not have red hair. Why do you think all Irish people have red hair? There are plenty of British people with red hair. Shouldn't those people also, by your logic, be Irish?
No.
Okay, then. So, let's look over there. I give a description. Tallish, muscular, young. I can't tell. I can't speak to whether or not he was good looking. His face was all bashed in. Black hair.
Okay.
Missing half of his shirt.
Well, that should be easy then.
And his hand.
Yeah. Sure, he will stick out once we find him.
Potatoes. Yes. Yes. So we look for a one-handed man who has black hair and is beaten to a pulp.
Right. So you guys are.
This is
sorting.
Where's
sorting through body.
Hey, this is refrigerated, right?
Yes.
It's still gross. Okay, yeah.
And yeah, because it's 1880s level refrigeration, so it's better than it would be if it they just took them in there with a block of ice or something like that. But
that's true.
So it's an improvement, but it's also not quite on the level of what you would find in in today's some morgues and whatnot there.
Hmm.
So you guys are rifling through things. The attendant kind of looks in on you, say, he's kind of staring at you,
I turn around.
kind of quizzically looking at you.
Perhaps you can help us.
I suppose could, but I'm guessing there's a particular body you're looking for.
Yes, a man missing a hand, black hair, beaten thoroughly to death.
And he's Irish.
I don't think.
Well, oh, you're looking for that one, huh?
That one?
That one.
Well, it's the kind of thing that stands out.
You've seen it. Could you tell us where?
Well, yeah. So he goes over to him, one that you guys hadn't gotten to yet, and kind of opens it and isn't terribly keen on looking at it. It's like, it's the kind of stuff that kind of gives you nightmares, don't you think?
Oh,
Pulls it out, and you've seen worse?
Much worse.
Yes, we actually have.
Yeah, he pulls it out, and there on the slab, what's left of the remains of Harmon McLaughlin.
My good man, I want you to call us a carriage and get us a gurney, please.
Him goes and disappears for a bit, brings to the gurney, disappears again.
I say we should cover him up, shouldn't we?
Oh, definitely. We.
Yeah, there are sheets and stuff you can get there floating around you. I'm sure the gurney comes with one there. So yeah, well, what are those ASPCA commercials going to do now?
Oh man. All right.
Yeah, he comes back. He's like, yeah, I got your carriage. It's on its way. I imagine you guys don't want to drag this poor soul up the stairs.
No.
The elevator we use to bring bodies up and down is just over this way.
Oh, very good.
Take you up. You get off and make your way to the of course, it's not going to be out front of the hospital. The carriage will be around back. I find it kind of tends to scare people off. You start toting dead bodies out the front door.
I don't know. It's London.
Nah.
Appearances and whatnot. Yeah. Dead bodies don't exactly, make people enjoy hospitals.
I thought it was your hospital that made it that people didn't enjoy hospitals.
No, it's our dentists they don't enjoy.
No, it would be the hospitals because they used to experiment on the poor.
Yeah.
Oh.
The dentist.
There's no dentists in England.
Have you seen British? Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Have you seen British teeth? Come on. All right. Moving on. We take the body out up the elevator and out the back.
Those are nice thoughts. I have other ones.
Not so fast.
So yeah, you load the body onto the elevator. It's a kind of rickety freight elevator kind of a thing. There's got cages and whatnot there which gotta close, and one of those one of the lever things that operate it and whatnot there. You're on your way up from the basement when the car stops abruptly. All right.
Mm,
Is there any controls inside of the elevator?
Yeah, it's got a lever that's going to push forward for up and pull back for down, kind of a thing.
I pull backward for down, see if it moves.
No,
Forward for up.
no.
You know, later this will be a fine story. Right now, it's just irritating. All right, let's see what we can do about problem solving. Let me get this gate open. And what level are we on?
Let's see. Looks like you're almost to my. Let's see. The basement, a couple sub levels. Looks like you're kind of at almost to like the final sub level before you get actually up to like street level.
Okay, so how many levels down were we?
A couple, yeah, the couple levels in the absolute basement there. So like you were 3 levels down, you made it up 2 and change essentially before it stopped.
All right. Yeah, let's see if we can get the door open. First thing.
Yeah, it's not like it's jammed or anything like that. And it's it's not like it's in elevators today we've got huge doors and stuff. It's essentially even like expandable cage things.
Right. I throw the cage back. Can we get up to the next level?
7.5 floor. It's the being John Malkovich crossover you didn't know that you wanted.
Delightful.
With some efforting, yeah, if the dice rolls are with you, you could probably make that happen.
okay.
All right.
We are climbing.
I have some thoughts about this, as I do not wish to have by an elevator. I want to use the gurney turned sideways to act as a stop to keep the elevator from falling down on us. At least give us some time.
You don't want to be crushed by an elevator. Understandable.
Yeah. Or bifurcate it.
Yeah. Understandable. You can use the gurney to try and at least delay that long enough for you guys to get through there.
In which case, the body is going to have to either A, go through first. We don't really care if that gets bifurcated. It's dead. Followed by the gurney, then us. Is that reasonable?
Sure.
You give me that British look.
What kind of look can I give you?
What kind of look indeed? All right. we pass the enwrapped body up onto the subfloor.
All right.
All right. And then take the gurney, turn it sideways, wedge it in the gap.
Yeah. You get that nicely wedged in there.
And then we climb out. Boy, that was easy.
Yeah, let's have, for those of you who are climbing out of this elevator, gonna be, let's see.
Athletics, probably.
I think it's gonna be a strength roll, is what I'm thinking.
You lose athletics, strength. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be strength and athletics, because climbing is about strength.
Okay. How many dice were you using?
Do what?
How many dice were you using?
2d6.
We add them together and add up that?
Yes. Yeah, you're going to add them together, then add your strength and athletics to it. And I don't think anyone's got any traits or anything that would help out with this kind of thing. Yeah, so it's just going to be that. It's going to be it's going to be that stuff. There's going to be any specialties or anything that comes into play.
It's 14. No, correction, 15. My apologies.
What did you roll, Fogwood?
11.
Your roll goes to 11.
But it goes to 11.
Interesting. I like the 11.
Oh, come on.
It's okay. You make it up without incident. You're 15. You scramble up there, and clothes are dirty, of course, because who cleans an elevator shaft? But Fogwood is taking some time to make his ascent. It's not like he's not failing. It's not like you can't make it, but it's taking longer than you did to get up there. You hear a noise, Hezekiah. And Fogwood, you'd hear it too. It's a little bit more muffled for you since you're trying to climb out of an elevator shaft, but you hear it too. You hear a noise behind you, Hezekiah.
I glance over my shoulder to look at it.
You see, standing behind, not like directly behind you. It's kind of like one of those things where they're at the other end of the hall, kind of a thing. But they've clearly made a noise to them that they're there. A pair of police officers dressed in rather spotless uniforms. And they're just watching.
Hezekiah, okay, so Hezekiah thinks he knows who these two police officers are, which is why he's not asking them to help. Lieutenant Fogwood.
Yes.
There are two constables up here.
Two constables?
Yes.
Oh, two constables.
I'm trying to think, is that normal condescension, or I can't.
It's normal.
Okay. Perhaps the ones who were involved in the investigation have been less than helpful.
Yes, I deducted that.
Wait, I couldn't tell. Your sarcasm, sometimes it's vague.
I'll have to work on that then.
Please do. I want precision with sarcasm if I can. I look at them. I'm sorry. I said all of that to say hurry up.
I'm hurrying, I'm going.
Can't possibly take that long. There's no tea down there.
I just got out of the hospital not too long ago, man.
Next time I'll carry you. It's easier.
Yeah, so with that, I don't know if I would go as far to call it encouragement on the behalf of Hezekiah.
Down there, I'm up here. I have a dead body to guard. I mean, I just.
Fogwood, you make it up, and whereas Hezekiah got some of the elevator grime on his clothes, your clothes are, yeah, they're no bueno there, friend. You need to get those sent out to get cleaned.
I am checking on the. Are they still there?
Well, once as Fogwood comes up to civilization, having pulled himself up there, they kind of turn around and head away from you.
So where are these constables you were talking about?
Oh, please. But I'm fine.
Well, they're not so elusive that you don't see them too, Fogwood. You see them kind of turn and head away as you kind of stand up. It's one of those things like you stand up and you're kind of straightening out your clothes and taking stock of how dirty they are. And you look up to see a couple of the pair of constables. Like your eyes meet, so like they see you, you see them, and then they turn around and head away.
Do you want the body or do you want the constables?
I do not wish to be yelled at again. Body.
Very well. I will pursue our good constables.
Tasty. I like it.
Wait. Split
the party even further.
Take the body. I'll take the constables. If you die as a result of, again, I'll get yelled at again. I take off after the constables.
Margaret is annoyed that you retrieved the body. Margaret is annoyed that you're here. And
I mean, I don't know why I'm trying.
He's just annoyed.
Right. And I'm pursuing the constables.
Gonna pursue the constables. All right.
I am taking the body to the carriage.
It's only 2 against 1, but I'm brave.
You are brave. I like braveness.
I like bravery, especially when accompanied by a 1 intelligence and a 2 wisdom. That's excellent. Onward!
Oh, you're pretty fast there.
Damn you, Google.
No, don't say that out loud.
Be careful. At least Google lets you get back on. Sometimes it doesn't.
All right. So we're gonna make some rolls. I like it. All right. So speed is coordination because it's a dexterity thing. So you're gonna roll dexterity. Not dex. You're gonna roll coordination and then athletics.
Right. 13.
Interesting. You keep pace with them. As you accelerate, so do they. So that you're maintaining the same distance with them right now with that roll.
Okay. I think I can do differently. All right. Well, I will at least try to pursue them to see where they go if I can't catch them.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, they're you're keeping them in sight, kind of,
Oh, hey, wait! I spend a story point to accelerate.
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
Yeah, that could move you up. That could move you up the You could spend it. You could spend the Essentially, what happened is it's more or less the result's more or less a push and stuff. But if you spend a story point, you can move up the success ladder and actually gain on them essentially.
Okay, then I'll do that. I'll spend a story point to gain on them.
All right.
It's now 10.
So yes, they accelerate and they are moving pretty quickly, but you are moving quicker than they are. Especially since once you get up they're heading up to the main floor of the hospital, and they start bumping into traffic, and you're able to kind of there's two of them and one of you, and you're able to kind of bob and weave a bit more than they can. And as you essentially as they get to the to the exit there, you can catch up to them.
All right. I guess I'm attempting. There's no specifics regarding subduing someone as opposed to harming them. This will be interesting. They're constables. Yeah, well, forgiveness rather than permission, right? Okay. I go ahead and I'm trying to take them down.
All right. You're going to roll.
I'm going to get beaten.
Yeah, you're going to roll. This is going to be strength and fighting.
Story points.
Story points. He
So
said.
there's something wrong with the. There's something wrong with the.
Okay, given that it is in fact 2 against 1, if I spend they spend a story point for this, how would that work?
In this case, what you can do is you can spend a story point to add dice to your rolls. So instead of rolling 2d6, you'd roll 4d6 and keep all the results.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, so I spend another story point to. Oh yeah, that's the wrong way, Mike. I don't have 19 now. I just have 9.
I arbitrarily give myself 10 extra story points.
Okay, then I go ahead and roll that, and I go to punching, kicking, elbowing them into submission with a. You say strength and fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. 15. 26.
Well, they try their darndest against your 26 there, but you are a blur of. You've been handed a note here. It's just in. Don't worry about that.
It's just it. Don't worry about that.
Nothing terrible is happening in writing.
Nothing terrible is happening here. All right. Wait, I'm beating these guys down in the front doors of the hospital. Oh, that's not good.
Kind of are, yeah. And you're really waylaying the hell out of them with the 26. I mean, your fight is subdued, so it's not like you're beating them to a pulp, but.
At some point I say, please stop fighting. Punctuate it by a punch each time. With each word.
Oh.
Punch till it stops hurting.
Just keep punching them there, huh? All right. That's one strategy. I'm going to punch you until it stops.
Punch until it stops hurting. All right. Once they are subdued, if they are subdued.
Yeah. After a bit, they you kind of get okay. Stop punching us.
You will explain.
You've drawn a bit of a crowd, and they're
I hold up my writ as presented to me by the.
Okay, folks. Okay, folks.
Torchwood is like, busy doing something other than staring at me.
Look, seriously, guys, the queen wanted these two police officers to have their ass kicked and sit me first, and then they'd do it. It's okay.
Yep, and I throw in some voice of authority to get them to go away.
Yeah, you start waving it around, and people start that, start, kind of go back to what they're doing. Stop punching! Stop it! Ow! We give up.
All right, so explain your interest in this corpse.
Look, this guy, his nose is, kind of bloodied because, caught one of your fists. I was like, look, I don't know that you're going to believe this, but this guy, he paid us to put on these uniforms and come here and wait for people to come show up for this body.
What people? Us?
Yes. You're supposed to see who comes looking for the body and then go tell it.
Really? And where exactly were you supposed to go?
He kind of looks and points kind of down the like down the steps.
Specifics.
And well, he's pointing at like there's like a carriage that's kind of in front of the in front of the hospital.
Really?
And yeah, you see him. You can see him. There's probably someone in there. There's you got a kind of a rider up on top there, and as he's pointing, as he kind of slaps the horse and the thing takes off.
I'd take off running. This is.
So we'll
Bryce.
So we'll cut from there to back to Torchwood headquarters, where Featherston is with with keeping an eye on the guests and whatnot there.
Yes. She's reading a newspaper while Jessica's eating. Because she'd rather read the news than probably watch what's happening in front of her.
It's pretty horrifying from someone with manners.
Great.
So wait, she's got that flat accent that the poorer people from the poor quarter tended to have. And she's eating with both hands, and she's shoving food in her mouth with both hands, and chewing and talking at the same time, mostly complimenting her on how good the food is.
Oh yeah. So this is really great. I don't got anything this good, and I don't know how long, maybe ever. So what is this place? What do you guys do here?
You'll finish eating before we discuss what you're doing here.
So cold.
Yeah, that kind of quiets things down a bit.
The wintry blast of you will finish eating before we discuss what you're doing here. So cold.
Now freezer burned whore. So, kind of quiets down and finishes eating.
Oh my God. You can still hear her chewing though.
Yeah.
No, what's worse is If you've been hungry, you will eat everything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that would include bones that you can actually chew up. You will eat.
Yeah. The servants have that kind of look where they want to be horrified because they know how terrible this is, but they can't just break down and show that because they're servants and they're not allowed. But
they're not allowed to have emotions because they're not
allowed to have emotions, but you can tell they're kind of dying inside.
We all are.
As the deafening crack and crunch of bones being consumed.
kind of a quiet. May I clear the table now? Comes from one of the servants, not wanting to step into this too hard.
I think Margaret kind of glances up over her paper, questioningly at Jessica.
Yeah, she's done eating. It's like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm kind of pats her.
Oh yeah, she didn't put the napkin down. There's crumbs flying everywhere. It's
yeah, she's got a thing, got some things right here. Servants do their bit and clean up after her as best they can.
Margaret smiles and says, "How was it? Was that to your satisfaction?"
Oh yes, it was really great. I said, I don't usually get food like that where I'm from.
Well, as long as you are a guest of the Torchwood Institute, you can expect nothing but the best treatment.
Oh well, it's mighty kind of you guys.
Yes. I understand that you witnessed something awful and are quite in fear of your life.
Her demeanor changes. Like, yes, that's I've picked up a customer there at the bar, and we're felt like being someplace a bit more private than where we usually do things there at Sam's place. So I'm going up the street to my to where I am to where I stay, my flat, and then like from the alley we were passing, just like from the shadows, it happened so fast. It was big and angry, and I've never seen anything like it. It had to be at least like 8 feet tall, and hands like trees trunks, and it didn't care about anything. It tore him to pieces.
Well, that creature is no more.
She realized this, and then that and her demeanor brightens when she mentions Hezekiah. That Hezekiah and that other guy.
Other guy. That's so mean.
No, not you, Fogwood. That would have been Fitz the first time. It was Fitz, not you, Fogwood. It was Hezekiah and Fitz who came up to her the first time there. I thought they just appeared and they went running after that thing, and I didn't know what to do because some people were gathering, and then like a couple of police officers showed up, and usually that's trouble, my line of work necessarily and whatnot, but no, they made the crowd wander off and asked a bunch of questions. about what I'd seen and who I'd seen, and said they would take care of things, and told me how to get out of the city, or and told me how to get out of the city immediately, and told me if I told anyone what I told them, I'd be killed. I believed them. They were quite serious.
Well, you must be very brave to be confessing this to complete strangers.
When you put it.
Well, Hezekiah and the lieutenant said I was safe here. I thought you guys were the good guys.
Oh, you are, dear. You are quite safe here, but the reach of the London police is notoriously long.
So she's yeah, I guess you're right. Sorry, I shouldn't have told y'all what I saw.
Oh, no, quite the opposite. We'll make sure no harm comes to you. Our authority quite supersedes the local constabulary.
Well, I'm glad I met you guys then. That's great.
And as long as our case is ongoing, we will, of course, be delighted if you would choose to stay with us as our guest.
Oh, well, yeah. If I can stay here, that'd be great. Building's a bit odd, but I can get used to that.
Couldn't quite push the word honored out.
I tried.
Yes.
There are, of course, certain rules which we would expect you to follow at all times. This is a business. The Torchwood Institute is commissioned by the Crown. First and foremost.
I didn't think about it.
All right. Well, of course, every place got the rules. I don't want to cause no trouble.
I'm certain you won't be any trouble at all, as long as you remain respectfully professional while on the premises.
Clearly not fully comprehending what you told her. Okay, yeah, I think I can do that.
By which I mean I expect you to observe the laws of a civilized Christian while here.
Oh, so you don't want me? Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't gonna work while I was here. No, is that what you're saying?
Excellent. As our guest, of course, you are free to spend time in your room. We do have a small library. The kitchen, the dining room, the study is off limits. That is my personal office, as well as downstairs due to the nature of our work. And I would appreciate it if you perhaps refrained from informing anyone that you're here for your own safety, of course.
No, okay, I can keep that a secret. Yeah.
Is there anything I can do for you, dear?
Well, I don't think so right now. And you guys have been pretty kind and whatnot, and gave him new clothes and a place to stay, and seems like you guys are taking care of that monster thing and whatnot, and that's I want to help out if I can, with your monster stopping or investigating or whatever it is you guys do, or
Monster stomping.
Monster stomping. That's the new term. Yes.
Monsters. I like them as monster stomping.
Monster stomping. Wow. Well, I will certainly consult the team, and if there's any capacity for which you might be suited, perhaps we could use your assistance. What are your
Capabilities.
Abilities?
Well, I've abilities. I mean, I've worked at the bar for a while there, so I mean, I am know a bit about that, and pretty good at my other work, if you know what I mean. So I don't know if there's much call for that around here, but
I'm certain we can
sew a bit,
Fine.
I guess. Yeah, sew a bit, I guess. And
something. Well, what did your parents do?
well, I never really knew much about my father. I mean, mother more or less worked in the still works in the yeah, actually, yeah. Works in the same trade that I'm it doesn't work in the same bar. She works in a bit of a higher class joint closer to the docks, but I'll get there eventually.
And this is something you aspire to?
Yeah. There's good money to be made with those sailors.
I see. Well, I don't think I need to tell you that I do not approve of your particular trade. However, that certainly will not stop us from extending our hospitality to you while you're here.
Oh, you don't approve because it's not. I don't even want to know. I just don't.
Yeah.
But well, man, I guess you don't approve because it's not, prim and proper like you. But gotta pay, gotta make money somehow. But I won't I won't turn any tricks while I'm here. Don't have to worry about that.
I appreciate that. And quite frankly, I don't approve because it seems a lazy way for a woman to make her way in this world.
What is even happening?
I don't know. The scene keeps going on. I'm just gonna keep insulting her.
It just won't stop. This is going on.
I know.
Twisted.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just kind of. So we can
Margaret's
draw
trying to like find some common ground, but
not so much there, huh?
no.
All right, so we can cut from
My God.
there.
We all call it the conversation.
Yes.
The
That will never be mentioned
conversation
again.
occurs.
God.
So we can cut from there to Fitz and Dr. Hale.
Friday nights on ABC.
There you go.
It does seem to sort of beg for it, doesn't it? An alcoholic observational genius and a doctor who has been thrown to the wolves by people expecting her to fail, and yet she has moxie and courage. Yeah, that's a television show if ever I've heard of one.
Produced by Seth MacFarlane.
Sounds like The Odd Couple to me.
It'd actually be better if we could find a way to get Joss Whedon to write it. Though somebody die painfully, horrifying.
It'd be me, because she's the girl.
That's true. You're right. The girl would live.
No, Penny.
She would actually halfway through the episode suddenly discover that she has superhuman abilities that she didn't know about.
Let's just try this from here.
Maybe.
Yeah, so Fitz and Dr. Hale. You guys have made your way back to the precinct there in Croydon, where my investigation was being centered out of.
You're pathetic. Pathetic.
So what was the exact investigation? Because I think that all occurred in the session I missed.
Let's see here. This is where Dr. Mac. This is where Harold McNamara's body was. This is where we first met the coroner.
Oh, never mind. It was when I was off investigating opium dens.
Yeah,
Never
you were
mind.
investigating
Okay.
opium den while Barnaby and Theodora were here the first time.
Well, Dr. Hale, I will follow your lead.
Okay.
Take a quick drink from the flask and follow her into the precinct.
So, of course, precinct is a bustling place full of activity and noise. Got the desk sergeant sitting there. Of course, you guys stand out in the crowd. Kind of looks up at you, it's like, or looks at you, Dr. Hale, like, back again, are you?
Yes, we need to speak with Inspector Wolseley.
All right, yeah. Is he expecting you, or?
Unfortunately, no.
Well, he kind of motions to someone, say, take him back to see see Woosley.
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 Woosley, yes. Sure, there'd be no tension between you guys since he works for the yard, but
Yeah. We'll see.
so you guys are led to an office that he's kind of co-opted, it would seem. He's there kind of behind his desk. He's got, kind of looks like a case file spread out across the desk here. Looks up and still rocking his excellent mutton chops. It's like, oh, Dr. Hale, right?
Yes.
Pleasure to see you again. So you feel like, and you brought a friend.
He did.
Well, it's you, Nagel. You work with this lot too, huh?
I do indeed.
I'll try not to hold that against you, Dr. Hale.
Take that.
So, what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
Well, it's come to our attention that there's been a murder at the coroner's home.
He looks, he's like, what?
Yes, the coroner's wife, I believe. There was a second victim as well.
Ghost marriage counselors.
It's like, he kind of says like, well, we should get there at once. Where's Dr. Maltby at? We haven't seen him since he went home early yesterday.
He's in our custody right now. He's the one that's responsible for the murders.
He looks at you. What? They would have struck him as a murdering type.
Oddly enough, he's not really, but apparently there was some indiscretion on his wife's part that that came to his attention. So I guess you could call it a crime of passion,
Well,
for lack of anything better.
Well, so killed his wife and her lover in a fit of passion, huh? Well, okay. I didn't know you guys investigated such things, but
Well, somebody's got to actually find the answers.
it kind of rolls his eyes like, the answers to a murder I didn't even know it happened. How am I supposed to define
begs
that?
the question of how sharp you actually are, doesn't it?
Well, I'm not psychic, Fitz. How am I supposed to know a murder has occurred?
Well, considering the body of one of the victims is lying in the morgue, I would think that you might have a clue.
What?
You bitch.
It's just nonsense about there being a body already in the morgue. Look, I would have. Look, no one has reported anything to me. I haven't authorized any other murder victim bodies, any murder victims being put in a morgue. What are you talking about here?
Indeed.
So, should we if there's a victim at the coroner's house, we should certainly go there and.
We need to see the coroner's office first. And his work area.
Okay. Well, we can certainly do that. So, it leads you to the coroner's office and work area there.
All right, I just want to scope out the area and see if I can see potentially what he injured himself on when he contracted the serum.
Well, give me going to be awareness and ingenuity. So I kind of scope things out.
And that's plus.
You're going to roll 2d6, and then you're going to add your awareness and ingenuity to it. So
Okay.
I have 9 plus whatever you roll there.
13. Pitiful.
Well, you're looking around his work area, and not the cleanest of areas. You'd you'd like to think that someone in the medical science field would
Not be a pig.
would not be a pig. Yes.
So you've got high quality morticians working with you. Coroners, sorry.
Well, it's not ours. It's hired by the. This is not a yard facility, as you know.
So, Mr. Woolsey, as I'm looking around the room, what would be your response if you came home and found your wife shagging the gardener?
Well, I would. I certainly wouldn't kill anyone, but whatever gardener was doing that to my wife would be in position for a right proper throttling.
Perhaps that's what she wanted, was a right proper throttling.
Horribly inappropriate, sir. We're investigating a double murder. So you and given that his thoughts was he'd cut himself on the rib cage of Dr. McNamara of Harold McNamara's body, you don't see anything in here that he would have necessarily injured himself on. That body would be in the storage area at this point. But here you find there's nothing here terribly exciting in terms of evidence or anything like that. It's a bit ramshackle. It's a bit disheveled.
McNamara.
And and it does look like he may have thrown up in the trash can.
Explains the odor. Dr. Hale, do you think this might have any evidence? Chemical?
No. Possible. I don't know. Have to have a better look at it. But if you don't mind, I'd like to take some of its notes so I can have a look through them and see if there's any significance.
So, McNamara was the guy torn apart in the alley.
Yes.
Yes.
Why would he have something on his rib cage to carry the serum? He was a victim, not a perpetrator, right?
Correct.
Or could,
It was
yeah.
been cut somehow and possibly was attempting to inject him with the. I don't know. There.
Wait a minute. We're in his office, right? So I look around for some of his tonic that he was asking for.
Yeah, in his desk drawer, he's got a bottle of it. About that big, made of glass. Got a label on it, kind of in black and white, that advertises it as Lewiston's Restorative Tonic.
I sniff it. Does it smell? I don't even know what it would smell.
Well, it smells foul. I can imagine drinking. Well, you can maybe, but. And it does not smell terribly appetizing. I will say that. It's got a very strong kind of chemical biley odor working for it.
Smells like cat piss.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, it looks like that. But, the label talks about how it will cure, it'll help cure, fatigue and having being run down, and it'll improve mental acuity and improve your reflexes and
make you more virile.
yes,
Put hair in your
has a whole list of things that improve your help restore. If you're losing your hair, it'll help stop that. It'll, if your body, it'll help dull the pain of old injuries, help with scars, all sorts of stuff there.
I think we need to figure out what's in this too.
Good idea. If you don't mind putting the cap back on that thing.
Oh, yeah, it's gross. Now I thought that the smell was coming from the trash, but I think it might be coming from his desk drawer.
Lucy kind of looks like, you don't think that's evidence, do you?
Could be. You drinking this stuff?
I think I was a bit nervous, like, yeah?
Have any problems with anger issues lately?
No, to be honest, I haven't felt better since I started tasting it.
How long have you been taking it for?
A couple of months, yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine suggested it to me, and I swear by it. I swear to you, I think my hair is my hair is thicker and bald spots smaller. I'm telling you, it's a wonder drug. I don't know what you guys are clearly barking up the wrong tree here.
Well, I'd rather be barking up the wrong tree than be right, so.
Touche.
That's it. That's why she was so nice.
So, I'm going to collect his notes and take those back with me.
Why don't you, Miss Hale, give me an awareness and ingenuity roll?
14.
I like it. And my computer will load. There we go. Just thinking about it now. Let's see. So, should not have repositioned with my leg fully extended. That was unfortunately a mistake.
Ow.
Yeah, and not a good plan. It's like, I'm just going to hyperextend my knee real quick here, guys. You guys hold on, right? Hold on real quick.
All right.
So you grab his notes, and with your 14, something stands out. It's on the top page, and it's kind of weird. It's one of those things, like, it almost looks like, like you get bored and you kind of doodle in the margins of things, except that there seems to be a number of them kind of doodled on this page. And if I can screen share without breaking things, just the button in this setup. There it is over there. Maybe. Doesn't look exactly like this. It's fine. Doesn't look exactly like this, but it's in this kind of shape.
Early Rubik's Cube.
Interesting.
What is that?
That I don't know.
It's Hellraiser.
Hoping to find out.
I want to look around the. It's bugging me that his office is so trashed. Are there any signs that something was not right with him for a while and he started not behaving normally?
Hmm. Let's see. You don't. You're actually I think which would find.
I mean, a messy
Yeah.
office is kind of out of place for a
Yeah.
physician.
Yeah. As you kind of consider the office, I mean, clearly most people don't operate on your level, so to speak. But I mean, you've seen a lot of doctors, offices of doctors and professionals, and it should not look like this. You definitely start to kind of pick up on things aren't in their kind of right place. Not like in a someone's rifled through this office kind of a thing, but just of someone who's kind of stopped, being organized kind of a thing. It's like, set this thing down, forget where it is, go looking for it, that kind of pattern.
You say, well, Z, you don't work with the doctor.
Normally. Not normally, no.
Is there
On
an
loan from the
assistant that
yard
normally
here.
works with him by any chance?
I believe so. Kind of him. I think he's
Extra pieces.
But now he's I think he's doing some. I believe he said he had some people coming in to identify a body. He's not doing that.
Oh, he's the morgue. At the Angels of Mercy Hospital, no doubt.
Well, no.
Oh.
Is that hospital relevant? It's kind of a ways from here.
That's where the Irishman's dead, laying at.
Okay. At least he's somewhere safe, I guess.
Could we speak to him?
The dead Irishman? I don't think so.
No.
We're not going to have a seance.
The assistant. Well, you can hold a seance and reach out to the dead Irishman.
Sure, we can
Draw that
arrange
as
that,
this-
I'm certain. Alright, so you guys will go and meet with the assistant. We smash cut to the aforementioned Angels of Mercy Hospital, and you, Lieutenant.
Yep.
Turning around the dead body.
You and a body. Hezekiah's somewhere else.
Short film.
I'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, there's some. Once you get the body, and you can. You're in a hospital. You can round up another gurney pretty quickly, unless you're going to fireman carry the body. I don't know what your plan is there.
I'm going to tell the carriage man I'm going to give him the Torchwood address, and this is to be delivered to Mrs. Featherstone.
Oh no.
Totally gonna kick your ass.
And after he goes off, I'm going to go try to find Hezekiah.
You were so much better off a minute ago.
Okay, so the carriage guy is kind of he's a bit confused, but like, okay, whatever you want there, buddy.
I throw him an extra shilling.
Thank you, good sir. We'll get him there as fast as you need him to.
And remember, this delivery is from Hezekiah James.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Sadly, your chasing is cut short, Hezekiah, because you got hit by a bus.
That's per usual. It's all right. I'm used to it. What could possibly go wrong?
So, carriage guy takes off.
I'm in a jet. What could go wrong?
Nothing at all. Everything will be fine forever.
Ever and ever.
Ever and ever.
I got my lucky gum. Oh, well.
Ever and ever.
All right, so then
so you make your way in kind of the direction that Hezekiah was running, and given the commotion that Hezekiah had created there, it's not hard to follow his progress. We kind of head towards the front of the hospital, and as you get to kind of like the main door area, you've got him, some medical staff that seem to be assisting a couple of police officers that have been pretty thoroughly beaten in a fight. Not like incapacitated beaten, but definitely a kind of a takedown kind of a situation there.
Do I see Hezekiah around?
As you kind of look beyond the beaten police officers, you see Hezekiah. It's like you look down, you got like the steps of the hospital and like the roadway, right? And you see Hezekiah just kind of take off running to the left, like make a left turn and just start running down a road.
I probably have a very good reason for doing this.
Hezekiah, wait! And I run after him.
Oh, crap. crap.
So, Hezekiah, you hear behind you the lieutenant call out.
I can't. I'm chasing a carriage with being pulled by horses. Okay. You can't know that yet.
Well, and realistically speaking, though, they're horses and you're on foot, and you are not the Flash.
Oh, wait. Who's trying to be the Flash? No, there are side streets, and they have to actually take curves. So, I'm actually going to use the terrain to my advantage.
Interesting. I like it. Okay. So give me
parkour.
Parkour. Going to invent parkour. I kind of like it. Okay. This is not really about speed at this point because it's more about kind of cleverness and whatnot.
Brain.
You know what? Give me. You're gonna roll. It's gonna be with. Let me look at real quick here. What is?
I would probably think it'd be ingenuity and athletics, actually.
Yeah, kind of. That's what I'm kind of thinking there. Yeah, ingenuity and athletics, but I mean, it's not a full foot race kind of a thing, right? You're trying to, weave your way around to kind of anticipate where this thing is going to end up and whatnot.
Right. Okay, so what does luck do?
Lucky is if you roll. I think if you roll double ones, you get to re-roll or something along those lines, if I recall. Let me look that up real quick to double check.
All right.
But like I said, yeah, it's kind of. Actually, no, it's a good trait. Lucky. Military rank lucky.
I got instead.
Yes, if you roll double one, if you roll them snake eyes, you get to re-roll and keep this and keep the second result.
Okay.
That's what lucky does for you.
All right. 11.
11.
Wait, hold on. That was the dice.
Oh, okay.
Plus what? 5? Is that 5? 16?
16. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, they should have rolled better than that. All right, so you are making way to the side streets. Lieutenant, you call out to Hezekiah, who ignores your call and all of a sudden veers from the direction that he was heading and takes off down like an alley or something like that.
Bloody American.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for that too.
So what do you do, Lieutenant?
I guess I go after him.
Going after him. All right.
What? Bobby needs to be re-invited.
Oh, I didn't know that he dropped out.
Did I?
All right, well, that's... There we go. See if that gets him back in. Invitation posted. If not, I can shoot him the link to the There's Bob.
So just for future reference, clicking the ignore button on your phone kicks you out of the Hangout on your computer. I was trying to clear the message on my phone. Sorry.
Good to know. Good to know.
Very good to know.
All right. So, Lieutenant Fogwood, I'm going to need a coordination and athletics roll from you. As you try to keep up with Hezekiah.
It possibly has to be delivered at some point.
6 plus 7 is 13.
All right. All right. All right. The cold, different environment up here does not agree with the skin on my hand. And it is all dried out. Anyway. So, yes, you are keeping pace with Hezekiah, who is taking a most unorthodox path. You can't even see what he's actually running after. You don't know what he's chasing. He's just kind of veering through side streets and whatnot.
Over things between stalls, people set up working, over old bridges, up walls. Yeah.
Past tea shops.
Past tea shops. I
stop. Not stopping in the tea shops.
I stop and I glance for a second. Then I run some more at the tea shop, past the tea shop.
Like, hey, what? So yes.
Orange Pico.
So yeah, you're keeping pace with him. You don't know, he's a man on a mission, but what that mission is, it is certainly unclear from your vantage point.
I certainly hope he doesn't go down Fleet Street.
Wrong out of town.
Actually, yeah, they wouldn't allow me on Fleet Street. Actually, I don't know. It's too much money on that street. I don't think it'd be allowed.
Actually, it was kind of a crappy area, and that's.
I can't remember if Fleet Street was actually. No, I'm thinking of another street. Apparently.
Yeah.
Where's the with that suit shop on it? I can't think of it. Hey, go on, please. I'm sorry. Continue.
Right. So, not to belabor this chase scene, and if you follow the actual rules, there's a lot of rolls and figuring out who's gaining what and how far they're away and zones and whatnot. And so we could sit here and roll dice for the next 10 minutes trying to figure out how this chase resolves. Or we could just go with the dice roll that we've got here. And after veering weirdly through streets and whatnot, you find yourself on a main, kind of opening up into a main thoroughfare. Hezekiah,
Okay.
Fogwood, you're kind of, you're like if he's coming out onto the main thoroughfare, you're kind of, like half a building behind him, more or less there. To your right, coming down the street, is this carriage that you started chasing, Hezekiah, and it is moving.
All right. I have 3 choices. I can try to scare the horses. These look well trained. They probably won't scare. I could probably try to jump onto the carriage. I'm not sure how that'll turn out. Or I could jump on the horse.
As you debate, Fogwood, you catch up with Hezekiah.
All right. I'm going for the horse.
What?
Got to stop that carriage. They were waiting to see who would come and check on the body. I say this as I'm running. All right. I run straight at the carriage. It looks less, it's actually less suicidal than it looks.
All right, so Hezekiah runs straight at the carriage, attempting to hijack the horses. Fogwood, what?
And that's the carriage.
And that's the carriage.
I have a plan.
Fogwood, what are you doing?
Oh, when he stops that carriage, I'm going to pull my rifle on whoever is in there.
All right. So now then, this should be interesting. Going to mount a horse that is running quickly.
And try to look at me, Bob.
Give me coordination and athletics.
Story points.
Story point. Oh.
What'd you roll?
Oh, 2 and a 1. God.
So I don't think you can buy rerolls with story points. Let's see here.
Damn it. So I may have to stick with that then. All right. So in that case, that is a 5, 7, 8. It's a 10.
Let's see.
They were bound to. They would. Yeah, I rolled really well last time. I'm not surprised.
Yes, you try your best to mount this horse, but the driver is able to jog at the right moment, kind of anticipating what you're doing, and you're almost there, but not quite. The carriage continues on. It is a very distinctive carriage, and you have gotten a very, very good look at it, though. And it does not blend in well with this. It's not like your standard, I have a carriage kind of a thing. It is a bit bigger, certainly a bit boxier. Appears to be made probably out of metal rather than wood. It is kind of a midnight blue with brass accents. Clearly, some kind of custom-made job. They did not just pick this up somewhere.
Wow. It's like Captain Nemo's carriage. All right. Anything I can grab to try to go after it? Is there a horse nearby?
Well, it's 1880s London. I'm sure there's horses nearby, yeah.
Oh, in serious trouble for taking off somebody's horse.
Accommodate your horse.
I have to come the horse for the crown. No, you're not taking my horse. Is there a horse that's just kind of hanging out, looking like its owner wandered off?
Yeah, there's you got a couple horses that are there that their owners are elsewhere right this instant.
All right, I acquired that horse.
Hezekiah has acquired a horse for the crown, Fogwood.
Bloody shoot that tire off.
I'll see what I can do. I don't think my guns work quite that way, but I'll see what I can do.
Well, I'm beating you to it. I'm pulling out my rifle and shooting the wheel off.
He's shooting the wheel off.
Shooting the wheel off. All right.
Getting a story point.
And
all right.
And
so you are going to then roll. Let's see. On the wrong
tire shooting skill.
It's going to be coordination and marksman. And if you're spending a story point here, then you're going to. So you're spending it to get more dice.
Yeah.
4d6 plus that.
Well, I rolled a 6 and 3 1s.
Ouch.
So that's 9 plus 4 is 13. 16.
So you unsling your rifle, and you've got like one shot at this thing before the carriage is just flying.
I take out my rifle and shoot him.
And so you shoot, right? And 16. Yeah, I'm going to say that it's not like it's a terribly elusive kind of a thing there. 16 is a pretty good roll. Take that. You hit your target, and the wheel kind of stabilizes and starts to wobble before kind of popping off. And the cart kind of like this, and it becomes this kind of a mess of a kind of a carriage accident there. Kind of collides into a couple other carriages and whatnot over there. Bit of a mess happening.
Do we have exchange licenses and insurance cards?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did one of those circumstances.
So we will smash cut from there to Torchwood headquarters.
Where something unlikely has just happened.
Yes. One of the servants comes and finds you. Well, there's like a knock at the door. Of course, the servants, unless you want to answer the door, of course, the servants are handling that kind of a thing.
No, I don't answer the door.
I didn't think so, but this makes it sure. After a few moments, the servant comes and finds you and says, "Ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a gentleman with a carriage here, and he says he has a body for us."
Well, who is the body from?
The carriage operator said Hezekiah James sent it.
How very thoughtful. Well,
Unless you have other orders, ma'am, I figured we would take it down to the lab. Unless we're refusing delivery, I don't.
that seems the best place for it.
Very good, ma'am. Did you want to interview the carriage operator at all, or should I just send them away?
What sort of carriage is it? Is it a public cab?
Kind of, yeah. It's just kind of something they hired, yeah.
Of course it is. Find out how much it is we owe him and compensate him well for his time and trouble.
Yes, ma'am. Everyone kind of bows and exits the room there.
Thank you.
And I think, given that it's 11 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone, this is a pretty good place to stop it here.
Well, this will be awkward.
No, what are you talking about?